Hey folks, welcome back to Creative Ops. I'm Tucker, and once again I'm joined by Munir. So today we're diving into something that I think doesn't get nearly enough attention. What happens after your website goes live? Let me throw this at you, Munir. A lot of teams launch their site, and then they just kind of forget about it. But these days, the smartest companies treat their site like a living product. What does that actually mean, and why should anyone care?
So good to be with you again, Tucker. I think treating your website like a product means that it doesn't end at go live. So your website should become a core part of your business growth engine with your owners, metrics, roadmaps, feedback loops, and iteration cycles. Like you can think of it as your sales or your customer success. Okay, it evolves based on performance and market shifts. And in today's competitive digital space, a static website is a dead one. Whether you're a startup or a scale up, your website is the first impression. It's your conversion funnel. It's your customer education center. It's all in one. So ignoring it after launch is like launching a product and never updating it.
All right, let's unpack the term a bit. So when we say WebOps, what are we actually talking about?
So WebOps is short for website operations. It is a practice more than, I don't know. So it's managing your website with the same rigor that you apply to, for example, a SaaS product or an application. Unlike traditional web development or IT maintenance, like where it all revolves about managing the infrastructure of the website, WebOps is a productive, continuous, and collaborative effort. So it combines development, marketing, design, analytics, and even content management in a shared workflow. You can think agile sprints, for example, where you have continuous development, continuous deployment, you have growth experiments, and conversion optimization, all wrapped around your website. It's not just about your uptime and your code, or it's about the performance of the website, the usability of it, and your business outcomes.
Okay, it sounds really proactive. Let's say someone's listening right now and thinking, "Wait, are we one of these teams?" What are the biggest red flags that a company's still stuck in that launch it and leave it mindset?
There are some classic signs that you should ask yourself about. For example, ownership. Do you have anyone who's accountable for your site performance, who's doing some auditing week to week, month to month? Do you have any annual redesign plans? For example, you launched big and then you went in silent for years. That's not okay. You need to do some facelifting for your website at least once a year. And then, are you running any experiments on the usage of your website? Do you have any A/B testing? Do you have any data-driven UX changes, or it's just the same for the last couple of years? Do you have any metrics? Okay, can you answer one of the simplest questions? What's our best converting page in our website? Where are we getting the most leads? Do we have a page that is performing well? And I think next you have some stuff related more to the content. For example, are you running a CMS? Is it managed centrally, or is it divided between different departments who's fighting over changes to the content, for example? Is your content actually linked to a CMS, or is it hard-coded? And finally, I think, which is so obvious, the content. Do you have an outdated content or any broken links? For example, you have an article that is not valid anymore about a piece of news that has been changed over the time. You need to keep those things up to date. And if you can't answer those questions with yes, then you are one of those teams.
Yeah, I think I completely hear what you're saying. You know, me being in sales, I am always looking to improve my process and talk to new people and get better and better all the time. But I think that even in our company, that the website is kind of locked behind a crew that works, with websites and developing websites. They don't really hand it over and share very much. But let's bring this to life. Can you share some actual stories of companies that embraced WebOps and saw some?
Absolutely. Well, I have prepared two examples. So one of our clients, who is a B2B SaaS startup, they set a goal to improve their demo requests. So you just land on their website. The first thing that you are faced with is book a demo. That's one of their main factors of gaining new customers, new clients. So what we've done is we ran bi-weekly tests, A/B tests on their homepage, copy. We have changed the call to action sections, position, and tested with it. We added testimonials. All those minor changes resulted in around 30% lift in qualified leads in around, I think, 6 weeks period of time.
That's huge.
Yeah. But again, that's you're engaging more, you're updating, you're changing, you're looking into data and updating your user experience based on it. And we had another client, an e-commerce brand. They switched from a rigid CMS to a component-based stack with a headless CMS, and they slashed their page load times by almost 40%. That's first of all. We've talked about this, if you remember, in the last episode, which is performance of your website. So first of all, that improved their page load speed, almost doubling it, which means cutting it in half. And then we improved their SEO, and that eventually led to almost they're receiving double the email sign-up requests in also around 6 to 8 weeks. So you can see some minor changes in your UX could have a huge impact on your conversion rates.
Yeah, that's super significant.
Yeah, I mean, those are not $1 million redesigns, by the way. We're talking about some really simple stuff, smart changes based on, again, data that has eventually led to real return on investment.
That sounds, again, super valuable. But for anyone wondering what this actually looks like in practice, what kind of tools or team setup actually makes this work? Like, if I wanted to do WebOps, what's the stack look like?
So let's get this straight. The stack can vary. It's not the main engine. I think the most important thing is the mindset. If the mindset is still the same, then, I mean, it's not going to work. You need to focus on empowering cross-functional collaboration and continuous development and deployment, and as we call it, CD. So there are some key components that you can focus on. But again, that all falls down to the mindset. So you can start using headless CMS. There are quite a few headless CMSs in the market. And so this would allow your marketing teams to iterate, update the website without any development bottlenecks. You can focus on utilizing modern front-end frameworks instead of relying on old technology. This would improve the performance of your website, and will give it a better look immediately. You need to also keep in mind that you choose a true and really good hosting service in addition to CDN, which is content delivery networks, that covers the areas that you're targeting customers in. This would help you immediately deploy new updates to the website. You definitely need to look into A/B testing tools. And here, I think the most used one is Google Optimize, or you can use other tools like Vercel or Optimizely, but usually customers tend to go with Google Optimize. You need to implement analytics in your website. Okay, you either can go with Google Analytics or you can use third-party services like Hotjar or Mixpanel. And finally, for the mindset shift, you need an agile workflow management tool like Linear, Notion, Trello, Jira, something that you can manage your team with and put a plan that you can iterate working on. Team-wise, I think if you want to have a growth-focused team, you need at least one dev or a development agency. Depends on your situation. If you build your website internally or you're dependent on an agency, you need one marketing specialist and one person that does your copywriting, so responsible for the content. On top of that, you need to have, let's say, organization KPIs regarding your website. For example, demo conversions, as you mentioned in the sample that I gave a couple of minutes ago, your browsing time on page, bounce rate, those kind of KPIs that actually mix between performance and customer retention.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see numbers. I'm a numbers-driven person at the end of the day. So seeing all those details really helps me dial in what we need to do. But okay, let's say I've seen the light. Like I get it now. Our site shouldn't just be sitting still. Where do I even begin? What's the first move for a team that wants to treat their site like a product?
They need to start simple. Again, we've always come to this point. You need to start simple. You don't have to nail it all at once from the beginning. So you start first by assigning an owner. You need someone who's take ownership and being accountable for the website. Okay, that's someone who's always there. Always their first and foremost responsibility is the website. Okay, and then you need to set up a couple of KPIs for that website. Let's start with 1 or 2 KPIs that are tied to your business. Okay, like if you have a form that is a request form, you need to look into lead form completion rate. You need to have, let's say, a demo request rate. Okay, those kind of 2 KPIs that you can apply almost at any website that you have, whether it's selling a product or just selling a service. And then you need to run a monthly website reviews. Is there any changes that needs to be made? What has performed well in our website? Do we have a specific product that gained a lot of traction? And what should we do next? Especially if you're running ads, this is something that you definitely need to run, not even on a monthly basis, but later on, maybe on a bi-weekly and then on a weekly basis. The fourth point would be to create a backlog. Okay, You need to start capturing bugs, logging them. I've seen a lot of websites who launches and you see that they have a bug. The mindset of the business would be, okay, this website only for marketing purposes, so it's okay. It's not bothering anyone. But no, that actually would be affecting both your customers and then the search engine crawlers who are logging this bug and seeing that your website is actually, even if no human being has ever encountered it, but search engine crawlers would definitely notice it and they would log it. So you need to start capturing bugs and working on fixing them. You need to look into your content, fix any issues with it. You definitely need to create a backlog for A/B test ideas. I don't want to go so much into A/B testing, but for our viewers, you can just search A/B tests on Google or any LLM and get a lot of information about it. But you definitely need to prepare a set of ideas and start implementing them along the way. And finally, you need to look into the SEO needs, because search engine optimization needs are changing constantly. Like, we're seeing updates almost monthly, or in the best case scenario, quarterly. So you need to follow up with those changes, with those optimizations to your page SEO score to keep it on top. And finally, it's more of again, mindset. Run sprints if you can. A sprint is just a set of tasks that are planned to be done in 1 to 2 weeks. Even if you have one task, even if you have two tasks, you can run those sprints. Running them weekly would build momentum, and eventually, even if you're not perfectioning your website, you'll be moving. Okay, this motion, this momentum, this mindset shift is more important than the what tools are we using, are we nailing it perfectly. So I think this would be my simple answer to how to start.
I mean, that's fantastic. I really appreciate the insight there. And yeah, it is definitely about motion, about being proactive. That's pretty much a wrap on episode 6. As you guys, the viewers, may see, it's kind of an A/B test for us, where we're trying out a shorter format and kind of seeing how that takes. But if you take nothing else from the episode, just remember that your website is never really finished. It's a living, breathing part of your business. And teams that treat it that way are the ones that are actually pulling ahead. So start small, give someone some ownership, track real metrics, and don't be afraid to ship little changes often. That's often where momentum comes from. Munir, if someone's listening and wants to help keep their site moving, or wants some help keeping their site moving, where should they find you?
Well, I'm always happy to help. You can reach out to me or to Tucker directly on LinkedIn, or you can visit our company's website, pentacreative.co.uk. You can drop us a message, and we'll definitely be more than happy to help you out with looking into your website and suggesting something.
Awesome. Well, as always, thanks for tuning in. If you got value from this episode, do us a favor, leave a rating, share it with a teammate, or just send us your questions. And we'll see you next time on Creative Ops.